Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, want to block my driveway, officer? It's gonna be another minute or two on coffee. Locked my ex out of his PlayStation account right after he renewed his subscription. I get to watch the company I worked for crumble without me, and it's glorious. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Want to block my driveway, officer? It's gonna be another minute or two on coffee. About a decade ago, I worked an early morning shift at a fast food restaurant. We opened at 6 a.m., so I had to be at work at 5 a.m. I would leave my house at about 4:45 a.m. every morning. My management was pretty relaxed about the opening shift. Clocking in up to 10 minutes late wasn't really an ordeal, as long as you showed up ready to go. I came outside at 4:45 to find that a local police officer has pulled someone over and is now blocking my driveway. This has happened before, but normally in the afternoon, and normally I just ask the officer to move forwards or back a couple of feet and then I pull in or out of the driveway. No sweat. This officer, however, angrily informs me that I will have to wait till he's done. I snap a picture of his car, text it to my manager and explain my tardiness. 40 minutes later, the police officer finally moves. I scramble into the car and head to work. I get there 15 minutes before we open. I frantically start to brew tea, fetch ice, having to condense my 50-minute routine into 15. I almost forgot to brew coffee. Opening time rolls around, and the first group of customers come in. It's a group of our local police officers, led by the captain. I guess they're about to do a shift change. One of the officers in the group is the one who blocked my driveway. Anyway, the captain orders coffee, and I regretfully inform him that there's a 5-minute wait on coffee because I got to work extremely late. Captain asks why, so I pulled out my phone and explained that one of his officers blocked my driveway for 45 minutes for a routine traffic stop. Captain proceeds to chew out that officer in front of all of his colleagues and exclaims that nothing short of a life or death emergency should block my driveway if it will interfere with him getting his morning coffee. It was never blocked again. And the captain always got his coffee at 6 a.m. without interruption. My granddad had a story a bit like this. He used to work in a tailor's where they used to make Gardaí, Irish police, dress uniforms. One day 2 young Gardaí come in to put in orders for their dress uniforms. They make the stupid decision to be very rude to my granddad. The reason why this was particularly stupid of them is that all the uniforms have unique number embroidered on the shoulder. So when the superintendent comes, who my granddad has been filling orders in for quite some time, he mentions the incident with the 2 young Gardaí and superintendent asks if they had picked up their order yet, which they hadn't, but they were ready to pick up, so he takes the number down off both the uniforms and he tells my granddad he will handle it. The next day the superintendent shows back up with a couple of very chewed out looking Gardaí who both deliver very sheepish apologies to my granddad for their behavior. Cops holding bad apples accountable. But for coffee. I was about to call bullshit on a camera phone from 10 years ago. Then I realized what year it is. GD, I feel old, huh? Been there, done that, buddy. This was probably more like 7 years ago actually. Don't feel bad, I still can't grasp how long it's been since high school. I cannot be this old. That was some great petty revenge, and I'm sure it felt validating. Although it is disheartening that the captain was only upset because it inconvenienced him, not that it could have potentially cost you your job. I was excited when I read, only under life and death situations. I was expecting to read, to block someone's driveway for 45 minutes, but then I read to make him wait a few extra minutes for coffee. I'm glad he got chewed out either way. I'd like a coffee, please? And can you serve up some just desserts with that? Some people don't believe this, but it's actually pronounced deserts, but spelled deserts. An explanation here. Despite its pronunciation, just deserts, with one S, is the proper spelling for the phrase meaning the punishment that one deserves. The phrase is even older than desert, using an older noun version of desert meaning deserved reward or punishment, which is spelled like the arid land, but pronounced like the sweet treat. This felt good just reading it. I can only imagine how it felt to actually live it. Locked my ex out of his PlayStation account right after he renewed his subscription. When my ex and I broke up, he owed me about £1,500 as I paid off his credit card debt. We had agreed it would be repaid no matter what, even if we broke up. Well, shocker, that went out the window after I left him, as he claimed he couldn't afford to give me anything at all. Along with this, he kept almost all of our shared possessions and returned my TV to me broken and without any cables. The PlayStation was a gift from me when we had first got together, and he set up his new PlayStation account using my email address, and I hadn't thought about it since. Yesterday, I received an email informing me of my purchase of a PlayStation Plus year's subscription. I've logged into the account, set up two-factor authentication with my friend's number, and remotely signed out all devices. He's got me blocked on most platforms and vice versa, so I probably won't get hear about it, but I'm still satisfied as hell. Change all your passwords on any streaming services too. Had an ex on mind for a while, and I don't think either of us realized until his new GF made an entire profile for him on my account. LOL, I think she thought I was using his and tried to do it to make some weird point. Congrats, you played yourself and got both of you kicked off. As soon as Netflix clamped down on password sharing, my ex-wife texted me to ask why I changed the password. I didn't. I just didn't realize she was using it. We both do well, but she makes a chunk more than me. Don't you love it when they make it that easy? Do you have evidence of paying off those debts? Or him promising to pay you back? You could take him to court. I asked in legal advice, and the general consensus was it's too, he said, she said. I've made peace with the fact I won't get the money back now. Reminds me of my ex going to basic and his friend kicking him off the phone plan to add his new girlfriend, so I had to add him to mine. He proceeded not to pay for his phone, among other bills. When we split, I found out he gave the phone to his friend's girlfriend, and I cut them off. He then told his battle buddies that I took away his phone, his paycheck, and his things. Funny, his battle buddies were contacting me 3 years later trying to see if we had any contact because they loaned him money and he, surprise, didn't pay them back. I have never been so happy to dodge a bullet. I wish I could say I feel for them, but they called me a useless dependent when it was my paycheck paying all the bills, decided I was lying when I said I had the bank statements to back me up, and I feel they got what they deserved. I really think you should, at the very least, report the PlayStation is stolen and use the police to get it and maybe some of your other things back. If it's registered to you, it shouldn't be hard to prove it yours. Sounds like he took a lot from you, and I wouldn't let that stand. But I'm petty like that. I get to watch the company I worked for crumble without me, and it's glorious. Context: I have been working in IT my whole working life. Several years ago, I was approached by someone who owns a small private college and offered a job. I had several years of IT experience by that time, mostly working at colleges in the area. I accepted the job. There, I was the only IT. There was no IT department. Just me. The internet was laughable. Something like 100 megabits per second for the whole school. They were trying to expand and get approval for a new program. So I took on the daunting task of getting the school up to date. They were simultaneously working to move to online tests and homework. Everything was on paper when I started there, so I moved very fast to do this. I also assisted with providing whatever paperwork, spreadsheets, schedules, etc. the school needed to get their new program approval finalized. Once that was all done, I continued to work as the only IT on campus. Then, my boss asked me to work in admissions in addition to my own department to take applications for the new program they got. There were so many other jobs they gave me that I don't even remember them all. They needed about 6 people to do all of that work. But I did it. Fast forward to 2021, I decide I've had enough. I enroll in the program that I helped the school get. Took their crazy entrance exam, it had something like a 10% pass rate, scored in the top 5 for that year. Then I quit my job. That place had become the worst job I had ever worked at. The boss had no respect for anyone around them, and the office had like 6 or 7 people working in it, including me. I was constantly being accused of doing nothing all day when I was working. When I quit, they did not hire anyone new to fill my position. They instead passed my work on to 3 other people, who of course already had their own jobs to do. I watched them struggle for about a month before another one quit. Their work also just got dispersed among the remaining employees. That left 4 people working full-time in the office. One of them, the one who had the absolute most jobs out of everyone there, started no-call no-showing at least once a week. Now, one of my favorite coworkers told me that she was just offered a new job with a 40% pay increase, benefits. Did I mention this job I had didn't offer benefits, and room to grow? She is leaving in August, so that leaves 3 workers. And the guy that started no-showing has already informed the boss that he won't be working there anymore after this year is over. So that leaves 2 employees. One of them is part-time. I feel bad for taking joy in this, but something feels good about watching everyone get fed up with the garbage management there at the same time. Edit, fixed the spacing. There were spaces in it before I posted. I copied and pasted from my notes app and I guess they disappeared. Added a TLDR. To clarify, I'm about to graduate in like 3 months. The school might shut down, but not that fast. I'll be gone before it would affect me. I plan to graduate and promptly purchase like 8 copies of my transcript in case they go down. I technically didn't do anything. But that is the petty revenge. Boss keeps asking me to help out around the school. I keep reminding them that I quit my job. And my coworker that got offered a new job came to me to ask for advice about whether or not they should even take the job. Of course I said yes. I reminded them that this place never did right by anyone other than the owner. The boss is the owner. This school is very, very small. They were somehow open for 13 years before they hired me. Baffling. The DOE isn't going to do anything about the working conditions though. The programs they offer are actually really good. The DOE might do something, but I'm not going to call them. It's way more satisfying to watch the school destroy itself while throwing around the "I need to focus on school" reason whenever the boss asks me for help. I am here to say, stay petty. Sounds like that former boss was pocketing money by not hiring others. Keeping it as a bonus maybe? That sounds like it might be the case. An audit of the department might be good. If the boss has a budget for the department, then he is definitely pinching pennies so the bulk goes into his pocket. That where the place was already in financial trouble and circling the drain, and the boss was taking it out on the employees instead of taking responsibility and actually trying to fix things. This doesn't really seem like revenge, but more like natural consequences. Glad you got out. Yeah, where's the revenge? OP just moved on with their career and didn't do anything to mess up his old workplace. The don't hire, delegate management style has been the death of so many good jobs for me. I was working for a company with a name similar to hell doing after-hours support for hospitals in my city, only me for the 5 hospitals all night. Our health region merged with the other major city in the province, and for fear of losing the account, we just took on 100% of the work for the second city. When the onboarding/offboarding process got overloaded, healthcare is a major employer here, they made me do it. Just straight up added about 200 accounts a night of AD admin to a job I'd already been busy enough at, and gave me 0 prospects for advancement/raise. If I wanted better pay, I had to apply for a new job in the company. It went from a great job that offered benefits and continuing education to a nightly slog that made me want to die. I love stories like these. Had they done right by you, they wouldn't be failing. may they fail. I had every intention of staying there until retirement when I was hired. I thought it would be nice to help build the school up and grow with it. But there was never a chance to grow. Nor did they pay me enough to begin with. Op. Lot of colleges see IT as just something that keeps the light on, failing to realize it's one of the most important investments they need to make besides obviously talent when it comes to research and teaching. Visualize and build reports on the dumpster fire. They have all you may. It will never remotely elicit a similar reaction to an actual dumpster fire until it fails to support their operations altogether. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.